How do you help your clients resolve the trapped emotions that are beneath the surface of the chronic symptoms that they're coming to you with? This is what Dr. V is known for helping practitioners all over the world do inside our company. Sit with it, and we want to give you our exact framework to releasing trapped emotions that we've taught to thousands of practitioners all over the globe. So, without further ado, step number 1. When somebody comes into the office, first things first, how do you even know that their symptom is a trapped emotion? Because we got to know that first. So we call it revealing the root. How would you know that their symptom is actually a trapped emotion?
Okay, so they come into the office, they sit in the chair across from me, and my first question is like, well, what brings you here? And most people are saying, well, nothing else has worked. And so they've been to massage, acupuncture, osteo, chiro, physio, they've done all the different things. Nothing has worked. So that's one first tip. The second piece is that they have had this now for longer than 3 months. So just case in point, if something hasn't resolved naturally within the body in 3 months, then we deem it as chronic. So that's the first piece that I'm like, okay, there's something else going on here if you've done all of this manual work and nothing has helped it. Then I start to go a little bit deeper. So I start to poke around and be like, well, did something else happen around the same time? And it's really interesting. Most people are just really forthcoming, which is really fun. But it can be anything from, oh, there was a move, there was a job change, there was a divorce, there was something that happened with a kid. Like there's also sometimes a pivotal thing that has shifted in life where there was so much elevated emotion. So then it's like, I can't handle all this. And they kind of just shove it down into the body.
Gotcha.
Because they have to like get her done and like get things moving forward. And that's a natural, incredible capacity of our bodies. Like we go into crisis mode and we just kind of shut all of that emotional stuff down to get through, which is incredible. But we have to go back because what we don't feel and acknowledge in the moment, especially if it's overwhelming, our body will almost encapsulate it and put it in a spot, hoping that we'll come back for it later. But most of us just kind of go on with our life. So someone comes into the office, they're sitting across from me. I have now figured out this is probably going on longer than 3 months. They've seen so many different practitioners and it hasn't shifted. And now there's a really key piece that leads me into asking, what does it feel like?
So would this be step number 2?
I guess technically it could be step number 2.
Okay, so you have a sense that it's a trapped emotion or several that's causing the symptom. And now you're moving into what we call the interview stage.
Yes.
Okay. So what are the specific questions you're asking in the interview stage?
So I'm going to be asking questions like, what does it feel like? And a feeling is different from an emotion. So how do I differentiate that? There is the feeling of, well, it feels like no matter what I do is never going to go away. It feels like there is a hook in my shoulder that won't ever come out. It feels like there's so much pressure.
Okay, but what's the difference between you asking what it feels like versus like it's grinding, it's pulling, it's the classic kind of symptom?
Yes. So those are amazing descriptive factors as well, because especially if somebody who's working as a practitioner with the body, you'll have indications as to what malfunction maybe of a joint is happening for sure. But it's interesting because the way that someone describes their body, they'll also often describe their life similar. So for example, if the shoulder or the knee, it feels like it's grinding. My secondary question is, well, do you feel like you have to grind all the way through your life? And they'll be, oh my gosh, of course. Oh, it's just never ending with work. And so people are really amazing in that front, but a feeling is so important. So grinding would be a feeling as well.
Okay.
Whereas if you ask the question, well, what emotion does it pull up? And this is really interesting, and you might actually see your client shift like right in front of your eyes because they'll stop and go, what do you mean?
Because they haven't even thought of this.
Right?
So the second step is even through the interview, you're bringing awareness to the fact that there actually might be emotion under this.
Yeah. And
if you think about that, if somebody is dealing with, let's say, knee pain for 6 years, for example, they've tried everything. That in itself, even bringing awareness to that on an emotional level can start to move things.
This is where the session can shift really quickly with people, because some people might give that blank stare. So I always will go, is that really frustrating? And most people will go, yeah, it is really frustrating. And other people will go, no, it's not frustrating. I'm just pissed. I'm mad. I'm mad that this isn't working the way I want it to work. And so then you get a whole other set of information. And so questions are so important to begin to ask your client. And something that's really important that I want to make note of is like, oh, are we allowed to ask people these questions? And so I just saw someone today, and this person has had this chronic low back stuff going on. And like they can barely go to a yoga class and do a nice opening vulnerable pose without the back starting to seize. And that told me a lot of information in itself. But what I'm getting at here is this person has seen so many deep tissue IMS related sessions. And I'm like, oh, that's too aggressive for your body. And they went, how did you know that? And I said, because your stuff is deviated from fear, not from aggression. Like what your body actually needs is relaxation, not deep tissue.
But how did you know it was fear?
Because through the conversation, what I recognized is I had asked a simple question that was inside of the intake form. And I said, you had kind of mentioned in here in regards to what it was like growing up with your parents. Because I asked a question like, what's your ancestry from an emotional perspective? And they had mentioned in this form that their parents were really volatile. And I said, well, what was that like? And, this person talks about like their sister rocking in the corner and their parents yelling all the time. And I said, well, it sounds like a scary environment to be in. And they said, yeah, I never ever knew what to expect. So I had said to them, when you look at, say, a cat that is scared in the corner, are you going to approach the cat with a fire truck and with a sword and with like coming at them really fast? Like, no, the cat is scared. Even though the cat's a little bit aggressive and a little bit intense, you're going to approach it slowly. And you're going to just treat it like as safely as you can so that it can relax and come towards you. And I said, that's kind of what's happening in this case, is that your back stuff isn't because you overworked it. It's not because, there's something wrong with your body. It's probably not because of menopause, even though that's where a lot of people want to peg stuff. But when we go back and we look at your history of what it was like to be around people, it wasn't safe. And so anyways, what this is really important is it will help you look at people from a different perspective of how aggressive of a treatment do we need. This person will get worse with deep tissue massage and IMS, and that's exactly what they said. So this was all through questions. I'm just asking questions at this point.
Wow.
Yeah. And so interesting thing though is that when I said, what is it like? What does it feel like? They started to get tears in their eyes. And so this is a really pivotal moment when speaking to somebody, because you have to remember that, I'll say in Western culture, like this isn't a common experience when people are like, what does it feel like? Unless you're in a therapist's office, you have to really watch somebody's body language and their eyes most will tell you the story of, because the tears will start to come up and go, I don't know why I'm getting so emotional and I don't know why this is happening. And this all came from talking about a pain in the body.
Yeah. So step 1 is you need to identify whether it's a trapped emotion. Step 2 is it's your interview process. You're starting to reveal what's really going on beneath the surface.
Yeah.
And you're asking the questions that most practitioners weren't taught to ask, which is literally, what does it feel like?
Yeah.
And even what is the emotion connected to it?
Yeah, totally.
So then what would you do? What would be your third step of the process to actually help them? Because now you've identified, sure, this is trapped emotions. You've uncovered what the emotion might be. Now what do you do?
Well, there's 2 pieces. Like A is educate and B is consent. So if I just take this back pain person that I had, I literally was like, let me show you something. And I literally pulled this out. They leaned forward. And so I literally pulled this out and I said, you see these blue lines going all the way down, there's colors all over these and they're meridian lines from acupuncture.
This is the Reveal the Root chart, by the way. If you want to get a copy of it, you can, it'll be in the description below.
And so I was showing these blue lines and they went, oh my gosh. That goes all the way up to the upper trap issues. That goes all the way to the low back, right where it bothers me. It goes right through the sciatica where it bothers me and down through the leg. And I said, yes, look, and it's correlated to this blue section. And these are varying degrees of fear. So that was education. Like I can identify this very quickly with you. And it's not shocking because it's all systematic in this way, that the way the body's holding it. And then it goes on to it's so natural for the body to encapsulate things when it's too much and you have to keep going, just like we talked about. You want to just hold it in, and that's where a lot of tension patterns can come from. So that the education piece is first, but the secondary piece to that is consent, because now we're talking about very vulnerable things. So it's, do you want to keep going? And do you want to see what it's like to release this? Because do you have do you have to go back to work after the session? What do you got to do after this? Because You might want to set up your day appropriately in order to receive this and then go home and rest and integrate.
Now, in your case, people typically are traveling to come and see you for this specific type of release work session.
Yeah.
But if someone is looking to help their client do that and their client's not used to that.
Yeah, that's where this education piece is so important. So it's like knowing that you simply asking the question of what does it feel like and what's the emotion can have a huge like set of acknowledgement coming through the client. So you need to know that before you just start like booping around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. And then asking your client, like, is that okay? Like, can we keep going?
Okay.
Totally. Yeah.
So then what's step 4?
So step 4, now that you know that it's emotional, right? And then you also know what the emotion is and now you know what the feeling is. So we teach something called the pattern interrupt. And the pattern interrupt is this really amazing way of acknowledging what's in the body.
It's so simple.
Yeah, it's like taking all the pressure off the surface really, really quickly. And you actually just insert what they've already told you. And so it looks something like this. And I like to tell people our body is really great at taking our words and then taking direction. What a lot of us will do and what a lot of people will do, especially your clients, is they'll internalize. And so they'll think, well, nobody wants to hear it. I don't want to hear it. So I'll just like keep it inside and spin all over my head and then it gets stuck inside of the body. And so when we are going into the pattern interrupt, what we're actually doing is it's like a somatic release because we're putting it out of the body through our voice and with very specific direction. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
You ready for it?
Ready.
Okay. So it goes, this is blank. This is what blank feels like, and it's safe now to let it go. And so you just insert the emotion and the feeling. So for example, with this person, they have the back related issue, but it was derived from fear. And so we just inserted that. This is fear. And then they would repeat that back to me. This is what fear feels like inside of this body. And it's safe right now to let it go.
This could sound so simple that it would be really easy to glaze over. But what we need to keep in mind is that a lot of people are walking around with emotions that have been suppressed due to it not being safe to express them, all the way from being a child that could be causing whatever symptom it is that's coming up in their body in their 30s, their 40s, their 50s. And so you have to think about that they have been pushing down this feeling or this emotion for potentially decades. And for the first time, they're actually acknowledging it out loud. And so one thing that I want to mention is to be prepared to hold that space for your client and to allow the emotion to actually come out, because it's shocking to observe and to witness how emotional some people can get in just saying that out loud, in just being witnessed, in acknowledging this is fear and this is what fear feels like in this body.
And it's safe now to let it go.
So one thing that can be really harmful that I want to mention, and this is like, we have a 6-month practitioner training, and I remember one acupuncturist went through, she learned this one thing that I'm just going to drop right here, and she said, oh my gosh, I have been definitely creating a lack of safety with my clients because of the inability to just let somebody experience an emotion and to allow it to move through. And so in releasing and as that trapped emotion starts to come up, it is so imperative that you don't rush your client through.
Yeah.
That you don't say, oh, you don't need to cry, or oh, it's okay, or trying to relate to them like a lot of practitioners will do.
Like in no way, shape, or form in this moment are you going to relate to them.
Don't.
Like
It's
there
not
is
about
no,
you.
I've been through this, I know. No.
You are the safe parent in that moment.
Totally.
Who is letting them process whatever it is that's coming up.
And for a lot of people who experience this for the first time, they won't even make it through the second sentence without having emotion coming forward. So you have to give them space, because people will want to finish the sentence. They might not be able to because so much is coming up, but they naturally will want to finish the sentence. They know the words, you've given it to them. And so, yeah, that's beautiful to give them the opportunity to let that cycle through.
Because it might take them some time to say the statement, to say the sentence.
You could do these 3 sentences that it will take 5 minutes. And that's just 3 sentences because there's so much moving. And what I want to mention is this is something you will do 3 times. You will cycle through it 3 times. This is fear. This is what fear feels like inside of my body, and it's safe now to let it go. And you'll allow them to breathe a little bit and go, okay, let's do it one more time. And then let's do it one last time.
And it's amazing. So we have this live masterclass. And if you want to join us, we go very into depth in all of this, and we'll mail you this Reveal the Root chart. We have so many demos just from that masterclass masterclass of you demonstrating to people, and it's so cool because on video, everyone in the comments is like, oh my gosh, their voice entirely changes, their face entirely changes. It's like by the third time somebody repeats the statement that you guide them through in the pattern interrupt, they literally look and sound different.
Yeah.
Brighter, lighter. It's so cool. It's so cool.
And it's such a safe way to approach the body, especially if you're new to it and you're like, I don't know how to help my clients. It's such a safe way to approach them without going into something that you're not trained to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so even this example that I was talking about, this person had been holding fear for 55 years.
Wow.
We train our practitioners how to go to the exact moment of where that's coming from. And so in this person's case, they were 5 years old and they were forced to fly by themselves. And they kept begging to not get on that plane.
No. And that was the memory that came up? Oh,
and so now all of this information is being shoved down. Well, what's the point in even saying anything, because no one's going to actually protect me or keep me safe or listen to me, right? And so even just articulating these 3 sentences moved so much of the information. It's super cool because as a practitioner who works with the body, you can see tension patterns just immediately shift because of the tension that the emotion is causing is now relaxing. The body doesn't have to hold it anymore.
Wow.
It's really cool.
Okay, so we've gone through a lot. What's the final piece?
The final piece is
Which would be step 5, technically.
Is to, well, it's 2 pieces to that, A and B. The A would be write those sentences and give it to them. Because inevitably they're going to go back into their life now, and there's going to be something else that might, boop up a sensation, or they might feel something and go, oh, this is, oh no, is it flaring up again? Right? And so you give them the opportunity, now that they've experienced, okay, right, there's an emotion, maybe a feeling attached to it, and then I have these phrases I can say.
I love that. So they're resourced now. They don't just need to book a session with you again.
Right, because we want to teach our clients that they can actually be the commander of their body. And that should maybe they couldn't get over it, then they can come back to work with you. And so empowering them with their body, with the emotions, and with a tool allows them to now go out into the world. And maybe they have a moment where they're like, I have to go to the bathroom. And they go to the bathroom and they're like, this is fear. This is what it feels. You know what I mean? So they can now move through that process on their own.
Love it.
And then the second piece of that is just to make sure to allow them for a lot of rest, because once a lot of emotion comes up, you either feel really energized or likely really tired. So lots of rest.
So that is how you can begin to help your clients release trapped emotions that are causing chronic symptoms that nothing else has been able to resolve. And if you want our step-by-step framework, we call it the 3-session secrets. And we've got a live or on-demand masterclass, depending on when you search it out. Go to sitwithit.co/masterclass. We'll actually mail you this Reveal the Root chart for free, and we will teach you not only how to use it, but also how to reveal the root on your client, how to uncover what that trapped emotion actually is. And honestly, it gives you this massive advantage
oh my gosh,
in how you're serving people, because so many people are underserved when it comes to the psychosomatic cause and the trapped emotions that are causing a lot of symptoms. So if you want to dive deeper, head to sitwithit.co/masterclass. We'll send you this chart and it'll completely change how you serve your clients. Thanks for being here today. And if you try this with yourself, friends, or any of your clients, make sure to comment below and let us know how it goes.